Okay, welcome everyone. This is yet another new show. Today we are getting Yuzheng, who actually going to talk to us about some interesting journey he has gone on, when it comes to AI, and also, more interesting journey from here on. So welcome, Yuzheng.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's cut to the chase of it. You recently started a new journey. Just tell us what's the new journey you are on, and then what happened. Just start from here.
Yeah, I left Static, and I didn't expect it to be actually a big news this week. But after I left Static, it was acquired by OpenAI. I think the largest acquisition on OpenAI history. But I mean, what I'm doing is unrelated to that. What I'm going to do next is continue building my AI builder community and AI course. I started doing that since last May last year, and we built the community around like later that year, and it actually took off even with my part-time participation. Like I have a full-time job and I have a kid, and I have been able to give the community like a few hours per week. But we already have 2,000 students in the community, and people launch projects there every week. So I feel like this is an exciting opportunity, and I see tremendous value from this community. So I decided to go all in as my next journey.
Yeah, it's all because of AI, right? Because of AI, we have new show. Because of AI, we have a new AI native browser. Because of AI, you are on the new journey. So AI is really making an impact to everyone at this point. That's really good. So let's actually rewind a little bit even more, right? Because we are doing this AI show, like I said, because of AI. Neo is we call it the AI browser, but it's a safe AI browser, the world's only safe AI browser. So we are pretty proud to have this product, but we are still early. Eugene, I think you had a chance to download it and then experience it. Maybe we can even start from there, right? When it comes to AI, a lot of things will change. Your everyday tool is going to change. Your day-to-day work will change. Everyone use browser, and then what is your first impression?
First impression is very new, and I especially like where we can have the search bar and the URL and the chat all in one place. And I feel like that is actually the destination I'm looking for when when I go to or open any browser. I remember like Chrome when they did it. I forgot how many years ago, probably over 10 years.
Omnibar, right? That was probably 20 some years ago.
Yeah, Omnibar to blend search and URL. And I think this is the destination that we actually wanted to get to. I want an answer. I want a solution. I don't want to go to a particular path. The path is only a path, right? It's the destination that matters. So that to me feels like the future. But I also feel like we are still very early in this journey. I actually watched your podcast with Guru, and you talk about there are three stages in AI browser, and I agree with that. I think the second stage is browser proactively give you new things, give you the information or cater to your demand. And the third stage is agentic browser, right? The browser do things for you, and I look forward to that future.
Wow, so you can be our spokesperson. You are able to articulate the three phases, as good as the team, my team members working on it. That's really good to know.
Paraphrasing you.
Yeah, I think the browser is going to change a lot. I was just having a lunch with a friend, and then I explained to my friend about what we are doing. And ultimately, from my point of view, it's not really a browser, it's an agent or it's a personal assistant. It's something going to be very different. So I think we're at the first inning of this AI era browser, but we have a starting point. So great that you already downloaded, and then hopefully you continue to use it and then give us the feedback. And now let's come back to the AI, the passion you have, right? You have this course on Maven. That's one of the most popular courses. on Maven that's like educating people about using tools, or can you just give a little bit more details, like why this course is different from everything else we are seeing?
Yeah, and I see a question from chat as well. What about today's guest makes them particularly qualified in the teaching of AI? So I guess I didn't do introduction of myself, and maybe so. I didn't study AI in school. My PhD was in economics from Cornell. But when I was doing economics, it was actually the kind of the dawn of machine learning in social science. Like I graduated in 2017. Computer science folks are already doing AI, so to speak, machine learning and deep neural net. And I just started to learn that in PhD. So instead of going into academia, I went to Amazon as an economist and experienced machine learning firsthand. I learned all the machine learning courses at Amazon, and I applied machine learning in my daily work. And then I was actually a little bit disappointed by kind of the setting of machine learning back then, because the whole thing was doing correspondence of data. It is very good at doing a particular task, but not very good at doing a general task. So then I went to Facebook as a data scientist. I went to Tencent as a data scientist. I was doing data analysis and doing some part of some machine learning. Actually, the way I met Howie was end of or later 2022, right? The dawn of ChatGPT, before the launch of ChatGPT. It was September
22.
22, yeah, 2022. And we did an episode. And back then I was seeking wisdom of, what is the next big thing in tech industry from Howie. And we were talking about, is AR going to be a big thing? Is crypto going to be a big thing? And Howie basically said no, but generative AI is going to be the big thing. And remember, this was before the launch of ChatGPT. Howie was experiencing GPT-3, and he saw kind of the glimpse of the future. And of course, neither of us actually predicted how big it is going to be. Maybe Howie did, but certainly I didn't. But from that conversation, I started to pay attention to generative AI. And at Tencent, I was kind of in a unique position because part of my job is to explore new tech for the company leadership. So I actually spend a lot of time both doing work and in my part time reading paper and studying generative AI. And after the launch of ChatGPT, I wrote an article about, the 5 most important questions of ChatGPT. I can share the article here, but it basically predicted a lot of things that is going to happen in the generative AI field. So the article was over 3 years ago, 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, and a lot of predictions still holds today. And after that, I have been, forming a community. At the beginning, it was a WeChat community with the Chinese social media, and I get to talk to a lot of investors and but mostly builders, practitioners, and experts. On my channel, I interviewed with a lot of AI startup founders and the researchers. For example, Shu Chao was one of my guests, and he was recently poached by Meta and joined Meta MSL. So anyway, like through my own research, my own application, and the community and the conversations, I got a lot of understanding. And I feel like every day, I'm, I feel painful that a lot of people say wrong things. Or when I look at the titles from social media or from news articles, I feel angry. I feel angry about how wrong they are. So I actually found my friend who is a 10x engineer and also the AI researcher to start the course. And he will teach the technical side. I will teach kind of the mindset and the insight frontier research part. And through that collaboration, I also learned a lot by teaching, by engaging with the community. So that's kind of my background. I don't think, my credential naturally speak to, why I'm qualified in teaching AI. But I try to do my best in learning and in figure out what is the bottleneck of learning, what is the gap in learning, and try to help people bridge the gap. Yep.
Hey, Eugene, there is a question in the chat room about is the target audience for like computer science professionals or for like it says regular people. I'm assuming people without computer science background.
Yep, that's a good question. So when we designed the course, our target audience was the, I guess, coders or software developer tech roles, or analyst or data scientist who have some basic coding skill at least. But surprisingly, a lot of non-tech people, for example, our latest cohort, if you go to our website, actually, I'll type the website right here. And you can check the student review from the website. And the latest review was from a sales manager from Splunk. So he didn't have a lot of coding experience. But in this course, I feel like he was one of the students that got the most out of the course because like obviously he was the expert in many things such as go-to-market, sales, relationship. But he always felt like it's hard for him to learn to start building. And during the course, he actually did I can probably like if you join our course, we have the recording of the office hour of that cohort, and you can see this sales manager actually did all the projects and asked a lot of thoughtful questions. And he actually was able to overcome this, fear of coding. And he can get comfortable in Cursor, for example, and start building and start seeing actually, oh, this works. To him, that was a big breakthrough. So that's a long answer to the question. The answer is no matter where you start, by just getting comfortable in building with AI, you will progress a lot. And the growth and progression and how you compare to yourself from 2 weeks ago, that is what matters. It's not how you compare to like if you are not a coder, you wouldn't compare yourself to another proficient coder.
So that salesperson, what level? Like I know he must be able to do some coding or not really at all.
I think through my teaching, I would summarize this as you can download Python and you can install Python, and that's good enough. And why this particular requirement? It means you actually need to use compute, and that is one of the key insights from our course. The revolution of AI is not about generating image or generating video. That is useful, but not the most useful. The most useful, the real revolution, the real paradigm shift is how we access compute. And I think Howie, you mentioned that very early on, right? You mentioned that beginning of 2023. So before AI, we mostly have two ways of using compute. And if you look at other tech companies, it's mostly about how humans interact with compute. But before, we can either use GUI or we can use programming. GUI, someone have to build the GUI for you. Like for example, if I want to automate email, I can buy a service, but someone needs to build the service. Or I can do programming, but it's hard to learn. It's very hard for ordinary people to use compute in this way. And but with AI, we can use natural language to interact with compute or interface with compute. And that gives ordinary people who do not know how to code kind of a superpower. And they can solve their real life problem by building with natural language.
So you believe that a salesperson who knows how to download the Python package without knowing how to program in Python, that person can come into your class and then learn enough and then can go back to the job or whatnot and then do something amazing. That's what you're saying.
So that is true, but unsaid part is this person needs to be highly motivated. I think as long as that person has the motivation, then yes.
Okay, very interesting. In one of the news shows we had a few weeks ago, the CEO of Runway said, one amazing thing happened was a salesperson actually checked the code into production code a few months ago. That was one of the biggest milestone. So looks like, I don't know, you trained that sales guy went to your course, but even if he didn't, you are talking about similar profile, right? Literally salesperson, not a engineer. So that's very interesting. And by the way, Maven CEO is actually going to be on Neo Show at some point in the next
Nice.
few weeks. So,
Oh, please say hi to him. I need to thank him for building Maven for us.
okay, Axel, what do we have?
Yeah, so we have a couple more questions from the chat. So someone was wondering, do you think the current academia, so sort of higher institutions, are adapting to AI effectively? So in the future, to what extent is learning AI going to involve numerous years studying in university?
So no, the answer is no, and I don't think going to university is the right way of learning AI. And that is our core proposition in the course. The course is this is a new paradigm, and what do you need? How do you learn a new paradigm? There is only one way, that is to build, because there is no textbook. There is no right answer. Like if you hear from the top experts in the field, right? Lequin would tell you something entirely different from other big name professors. So like which textbook would you trust? And by the time a textbook is written, it's outdated. And if you want to apply the old way of learning, one of the examples would be learning through frameworks. It will be wrong and it will be inefficient. So the only way to learn effectively is to build. And through building, you actually get to learn, what works for you or not. So that is kind of the first principle approach. And I actually have some concrete anecdotes from university. So I'm a close friend with Yuzheng, who is CS AI professor at Columbia. So she studied AI for over 20 years. And we chat. We had like two podcasts together. And he came to my Seattle meetup when she visited Seattle. So she actually wanted to get me to teach at Columbia because as an adjunct professor, because she believes that university is not offering a course like what we are offering right now. And she feels like the education is actually lacking. So Yuzhou is actually special because she's not only a researcher, top researcher and a professor, she actually does her own startup. She won the Amazon Alexa World Competition in 2018, and she has her own agentic AI startup called actually Artlex, ARKLEX.ai. So like she's very hands-on, and then she can see the gap. And I think I also did a seminar to kind of a statistician conference, quality control and productivity conference. And I teach to mostly professors and postdocs. And they were like, wow, I never heard of this before. And this is so useful. Can we invite you to teach in our university? So I don't think the curriculum is catching up. I don't think professors have the time or the motivation to actually get down to, learning AI and teaching AI efficiently. I'm not saying like none of the useful courses exist. I do remember that there are a few Stanford classes that are very good. I actually wanted to go to the class, but I didn't have time. I'm considering enrolling in those classes myself. But for most universities, I think they don't have the resource or the people to teach AI properly.
So you mentioned that you had various obligations, obviously, as you developed your course. And so we have someone wondering sort of how did you manage that and growing your channel as well as your advertising your course?
Yeah. So luckily, I mean, I developed the course mostly during our my parental leave, and my co-instructor happened to have his second child almost the same time as my first child. So we had overlap of our parental leave, and we spent a lot of time developing the course. Combined, I think we wrote 300 pages of material from scratch. Like we are not copying and pasting from anywhere else. We're writing, like not using AI to write the material, and there are over 300 pages. But yeah, if I was just doing my full-time job, I wouldn't be able to sit down and produce that much material. Once I have that material, selling, I feel like, yeah, if you spend more time selling the course, you'll get more results. But because the quality, like my understanding is because of the quality of the course is so high, it doesn't take too much effort to sell the course. Like I can just show people what the course is about, and people are like, okay, this is what I'm looking for.
Mhm. So you mentioned, like, obviously, clearly it took you a while to develop the course, so it must consist of a vast array of items and knowledge to acquire. So someone is wondering, sort of still for the non-coder, could you elaborate as to how they would leverage your course? You know, say HR sales, right? You mentioned downloading the Python package, but could you elaborate?
Yes. So like just speaking to a non-tech person, we have our course is actually designed in a way that you don't have to consume the 300 pages. We have about 5 hours of video. The cohort version is, of course, we do the cohort live video and live demo, and the self-paced version is the recorded version of that. But when we do the video, my part is basically correcting what limits you from learning. Like for example, uh, when you made the post, right? I reposted and I point to one thing that is the importance of unlearn. What I observe is a lot of new grads, high school students, they're actually very effective in learning AI. But a lot of experienced people, even developers, they are not effective in using AI. And why is that? It's because the new paradigm actually brings some identity challenge. Like you cannot learn new paradigm using the old way. So you have to unlearn the old way. Like for example, you identify yourself as a non-tech person. That is kind of the definition from the old paradigm. A high school student wouldn't self-identify as I'm a HR, I'm a sales, I'm a non-coder, right? So the high school student doesn't have this kind of self-imposed limitation to say, oh, I'm not going to be able to learn this. So you need to unlearn a lot of things. And then I teach you how to learn effectively, and we teach you, for example, how to dissect the problem. When should you use AI? When should you not use AI? And when you decide, okay, I should use AI for this to build this, then we give you projects to try, or how to do effective context window management, and how to hand off knowledge between different models, and how to take advantage of the existing APIs and existing ecosystem. So it's a progression, like kind of learn as you build. That is the way of teaching. So if you don't believe, like everyone learned coding gradually, right? Nobody was born to know how to code. So if you believe that you can build things, then I mean, of course you can, because if if someone just look at our demo, for example, we have a half-hour demo of how to use cursor to do complex data analysis, or write a business weekly business review, or build some small projects. We designed in a way that if you look at the task, it will feel daunting, but we'll tell you that you can do this within 5 minutes. And once you actually do that, most people get it done within 10 minutes. So that is kind of the magic of when it clicks that, oh, I can do this.
Okay. So if the university degree is no longer, a golden ticket and anyone, even a non-coder, could potentially use your course, how do you see, employers adapting to alternative education paths, such as super linear? Are they sort of shifting their priorities, or what do you think?
I don't know the answer to that for this reason. I think this is from Peter Thiel, and his insight is basically university is a bundle. It's not education. Maybe education is 10%. It's also signaling, right? You got into this admission, so you are okay. It's an insurance policy for the parents. It's kind of a daycare for young adults, right? And if you combine everything, then the university has a certain value. Education is only a small part of it. So we are changing the education. We are just helping you be more
By
effective.
the way,
But
Axel, our co-host, is working super hard to get to this adult daycare at this point. It's very, very inspiring to him to hear this.
That's
yeah,
right.
it's great. I think the science says like young adults, especially young men, we don't develop until I think 25 age 25. So a place to meet, fellow students or fellow friends, like socialize, and yeah, it's a great place to be. So it's like, but I don't think even before AI, I don't think the education in university is that valuable. It's 10% of the other value. In the age of AI, of course, you should learn outside of school. I don't think employers would anchor kind of like, for example, we don't give any certificate. And the reason is because it's already hard enough to sell a course without demanding a lot of hours to invest in the course because we sell this course to professionals. And if we give certain certificate, we have to grade them, we have to evaluate, and we have to demand certain input. And that is actually not easy. Like busy professionals, they don't want to go to your course and get a C in your course. But if you don't give someone a C, then the A doesn't mean anything. So, yeah, I don't see our course becoming a great signal for the employers. But if you want to just up your knowledge and be more effective, then yeah, I would highly recommend.
And then currently, as it stands, who do you think is your closest competition in this field?
Andrew Kapathy. Like his channel is so good and free. I don't think you necessarily need to pay a course to learn AI. If you just watch Andrew Kapathy's channel and start doing things, you'll learn perfectly fine. But what we do is kind of service to organize the information and also build the community so that you feel like you are not alone. You have a place to launch your project and feel supported and get constructive feedback. You get Q&A for it, right? We offer this kind of service. But if you just want to learn, I think going to Andrew Kapathy's channel and read all his, like watch all his video over and over again and start doing things like building GPT-2 and vibe coding, you'll be fine.
Howie, anything to say?
Wow, I think this is a very touching topic in many ways. As I said earlier, right? My co-host is actually, going to college in the year. And I don't know how much you shake his view, but no matter what, I think I agree with Yuzheng a lot of what you said. And it's an interesting time, right? I would even go, I would even say education hasn't changed much for 100 years, um, despite industrial revolution one after another. Um, and my own belief, maybe I'm more optimistic than others. My own belief is this revolution is going to change the education for the first time in 100 years. Um, but we will see. I think you touched upon the value of the college, the value of the learning, where to get the learning. I agree with you. A lot of the very good learning is actually free on the internet even. But what is the best way? It's not as simple as that. For instance, my own kids, right? They would sign up some classes. When I look at, well, I can teach them easily, but guess what? They will never want to hear from me. so just go sign up the classes, even though I feel like this is in some ways a complete waste of the tuition, but I don't believe the end result will be any better at all if they learn from me for this awkward reason. So I think there's a value of the school, there's a value of the program, there is a value of the whether formal or informal educational institution still, because that gives you a community, gives you a venue, gives you a some sort of the pressure even, right? So I think it's still valuable, but how does the education going to adapt? It's a very interesting time. Um,
I want to give a very unconventional advice to Axel. I'm actually nervous about this, so just take it as kind of my personal prejudice, and yeah, don't take it seriously. But I want to lay it out there. I remember I was very busy at school, university or PhD. But now I try to remember what I did. I cannot remember. I cannot recall. I feel like I was busy all the time for no good reason. I just don't know what's valuable. So I join myself in homework and exam preparations, and those things are, in my opinion, not that that's useful or valuable.
let's debate a little bit. I'm actually a lot closer to you than the other way around. But um, you did a PhD program, right? As you said, earlier. My view is at least the PhD, it's a very long, many years of the study, but a lot of that is the methodology, right? You kind of hey, taking a vague problem, how to break that apart, how to, try different routes, do deep research, and it's a methodology. It's a way of getting some breakthrough in some tough problems. I still feel like it's very valuable.
The suffering is valuable, yes.
Okay,
Like
suffering is valuable. Okay,
and the meta, like the meta study, like the learning of how to learn is valuable, and how to kind of research, how to break through, how to discover new things, how to stay disciplined without anyone like looking over our shoulder. Those are all valuable. I think what I'm proposing to Axel is like learn that, but do not maybe learn that by building our own project. Like when I think about how much time I have at school, I actually had a lot of time, but I spend those time doing homework. What if I show commit on my GitHub every day, right? What if like if a future employer look at my GitHub and it sees 4 years of green, a lot of commit, hundreds, 100,000 lines of code, and I actually have projects, and maybe the projects have traction or have actual users, and I was able to show them that I built some technical complex solutions, or I can solve some problem, or I know things that are actually useful. I think if I know how to do that when I got into college, I would be much more successful than I am today. So that's kind of my unconventional advice.
very
I have to
interesting.
say, I'm really grateful for your advice. Certainly, I can relate to conducting some work and not really knowing the purpose, and feeling like potentially there could have been something more efficient to do.
Uh, this I will ask this question to Howie. Given your experience, if you look at two students, the first student have perfect GPA, and you but like bland resume. Like I studied, I did some class project, I did 1 or 2 internship. The other student have 3.0 GPA or even 2.8, but have impressive GitHub and several projects on the resume. Which one would you tend to hire?
From the same school, like Cornell.
From the same school, I guess.
Look, I think it gives me different indications. The 4.0 GPA, to me personally, it's not like how much the student learned or not. It's just shows that the person is able to do, behave consistently, willing to work hard, right? Reasonably smart, right? That kind of thing. So you kind of get a profile of that. Does that mean the person is a perfect just because the GPA is perfect? No, even if the perfect score from the perfect university, it doesn't mean anything. But that does show that the person is able to deliver work and then suffer, willing to suffer a little bit, right? So that's the value. But the other profile shows me that the person is able, seems like a pretty creative, passionate about certain things. And yet, 2.8 GPA, I could view that positively and then negatively, right? Positively in that, well, the person just does, spend all the time in what he's passionate about. I always respect that kind of the people. I don't know what Steve Jobs, GPA. I can hardly imagine it was 4.0, right? As example. Um, but I can also take it negatively, right? Hey, you need to be a responsible person at least, right? Maybe not 4.0, get some reasonable score. If you are not responsible for your GPA, are you going to be responsible for my project as an employer? So I think, I'm in a way dodging your question, but I think, depending on what I'm looking for, I think it gives me different indications.
A follow-up question: as an investor, which one would you pick?
That's a very good question. As an investor, you wanted to shoot for people who are unusual, right? Because, if you are one of the 100,000 people, 1,000 people, you don't want, right? You want some outlier, right? Because you want outlier return and you want to invest in outlier student. So in that context, if a person is like doing something very, very interesting in the GitHub, very unusual at that age group, in that cohort, that might be someone I would rather invest because, 4.0 GPA, right? I don't know, 10% or whatever the percentage of people have it. So it doesn't mean anything. It's so that's a very good question. So again, going back to my answer, really depends on what I'm looking for. I can't give you A is better than B. No, right? It's like
Actual.
under what circumstance, what I'm looking for, I will give you a very different answer.
Cool. Thank you.
I know we are kind of already more than half an hour. This is actually very interesting. So anything, last minute wisdom you want to share with us, whether anything about AI, it could be about Neo, it could be anything. Just tell us anything you want to share with us as a parting wisdom, parting words.
I want to share an advertisement and the valuable thing. The advertisement is we are revamping because I quit the job, right? So we are revamping the course and to be the version 2. So if you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see my post. And if you apply version 2, just version and the number 2, you'll get some huge discount from the course. And after a while, we will revamp the content, and it's going to be even better. The valuable thing is
anyone with watching this video and then sign up your course will get the deepest discount.
yes, yeah. And the valuable thing is, I think the two most out of all my teaching, summarize the two most important thing in learning AI is the builder's mindset and the beginner's mindset. The beginner's mindset, you can search for it, is actually there are books about it. I think these two are the most important thing.
Interesting. Builder's mindset, beginner's mindset. This is actually one conversation you and I had in some other context, right? Who's better off in the new paradigm? Is that like people who are kind of junior or people still in the school, or like Axel, right? Who's about to get into college versus people who has been there, done that, already has certain seniority. I'm actually, feel like, the next generation, people who are still in the college or yet to go to the college or just, got out of college, they are, they have the advantages.
I remember Andrew
It's a
has the
controversial view, but that's my view. Sorry, you.
Oh yeah, sorry. Andrew Ng, Wen-Da, he has the answer on No Prior podcast. So it's people who do not have a beginner mindset but are expert. Those people are not going to be effective. People who have beginner mindset and new grad or no experience are going to be better. They are actually more effective. That is from his observation, but not from any hypothesis. But the most effective people are the ones who have beginner mindset and experience. Like the senior engineer, staff engineer who have the beginner mindset, those are the 10x effective person. Like my co-instructor, how you know his work, right? He is that kind of person.
Yeah. But if you have to pick one of the two, beginner's mindset and the experience, Andrew's view. Andrew is the professor from Stanford. I think millions of people learned AI, in the last 15 years or so from him on online course. So and you said Andrew feels like the beginner mindset trumps the experience.
Yeah, I believe on the podcast, he actually said he picked the new grad and it turned out to be the right choice.
That's very interesting. I didn't hear him say that. I 100% in agreement with him. That's really good. Hey, this is another cool and then very useful advice for Excel.
Yeah, thank you so much for your wisdom and your advice. I look forward to checking out your course.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Anything else, Yuzheng?
So many things, but I would love to invite you to my podcast as well. We can discuss AI browser, and we can also discuss, how to get people to learn more effectively. We are doing some enterprise training, starting to do some enterprise training, but I don't know what is the best way to convince people to actually embrace the beginner mindset. So yeah.
Interesting. That's but for people like Excel, that's already inherent to him. He got it for free because he hasn't, done any job. Of course, he has been, working on this co-hosting this this program that has been, wonderful to work with him. And you started using Neo just 2 days ago, and you already wanted to know more about Neo. Very much appreciate your kind of the offer to sort of talk more, to learn more. Same here for people on this show who watch this show. You will get activation code for free for the Neo AI native browser we have. So happy to take your offer, and then we are going to do another show on this one.
Yep. Thank you.
Awesome. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Have a nice weekend, everyone.
This weekend.